Hello, you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and yes, you've read the episode. It is time for another Not List, aka an episode of These Things Suck, a little video format where I and my neck vein Jeremy take a whistle-stop tour around the video game industry, find things that really just grab you by the nuts and just keep pulling until Christmas. And make a little video about them for your entertainment. You are welcome. And today we have an absolute stinker on our hands today because we are talking about video game checkpoints. Now, when it comes to video games, checkpoints are a good example of the devil you know, as there's nothing that quite breaks the experience so expertly as having an autosave or checkpoint reached message pop up every other bloody minute. But at the same time, we're sure glad it was there when we bit the big one and wanted to get back into the action as quick as possible. Yet, it is a fine line to walk, as if you have an overactive checkpoint system or a completely lackadaisical one, you may end up with cases where the player is trapped in a death loop of respawning right in front of enemies, or are booted back hours to a point where they have to muster up the grits to do it all over again. Yes, developers are damned if they do and damned if they don't, and god damn do I hate the video game checkpoints that we're talking about today, because I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these video game checkpoints suck. Now, Joe, will you please animate a little grenade into my hand? There we go. The humble video game grenade. Friend to all, except those that have eaten a buttery lobster before handling, because that is a terrible idea. Those that can't count to 5.
3, my lord.
That could have been very embarrassing, thank you for that. And also your enemies, or basically anyone that's in the vicinity of the explosion. And in video games, there's rarely anything more satisfying than being able to lob this angry potato at an enemy and watch them desperately scramble for cover or risk getting launched into the air in several very bloody pieces. And it's usually very useful to flush out camping players looking to hug tight, damp corners like the foul mold spawn that they are. However, on the flip side, being targeted by a barrage of explosives while you're just trying to catch your breath sounds like the worst time ever, something that Call of Duty World at War makes very clear thanks to its abysmal combo of punishing AI and terrible checkpointing. Now, usually the Call of Duty franchise is raked over the coals for being way too hand-holdy with their games, being very nanny state with the whole affair. In fact, they're trying to grip so tightly onto your hands that they kind of break your forearm in the process.
Because we can't have Tommy Pisspants over here fail now, can we? We need to make sure that he and the other 12-year-olds that are playing through this campaign can make it through, can't make it too tough, or else their parents might write a nasty tweet to us. Sorry about that, back on track. Yet when it came to World at War, the devs took this rigorous checkpointing, which should have made for a far easier time for the player, and bungled it completely by also programming enemy AI who constantly spam grenades the moment that you've settled even for a nanosecond. On veteran difficulty, it becomes an actual joke, as you will constantly be beamed in the face by grenades from the off. And thanks to the aforementioned checkpointing, it's very possible to respawn with a grenade already at your feet, meaning that the only way out of this nightmare is to start the level again and pray it doesn't happen to you a second time. War is hell, they got that fucking right. Okay, kids, gather round as it's time for Old Man Egg to tell you a story. We begin in the long ago,
Also known as 1999.
and we find ourselves a young boy by the name of Gruel's Jill,
Names have been changed to protect the innocent.
who had just managed to get his grubby, Tazo-grabbing hands on a copy of Final Fantasy VIII after saving all of his pocket money up for months. After gleefully whooping and hollering in a way that only a borderline ADHD child could, I mean Gruels, feverishly made his way through the exceptionally enjoyable main narrative and thoroughly relished how the extremely moody squall just spoke volumes to a bag of hormones such as himself. But then, upon reaching the double boss battle of Cypher followed by Adele, disaster struck. You see, Gruels was too much of a lizard brain at the time to appreciate the intricacies of JRPGs and how grinding is quite a big part of the experience. Here he was barely scraping by boss battles and often running from random encounters because he didn't think it was a worthwhile thing. What a stupid idiot. And as such, was left rolling in the deep waters of despair when it became very apparent he just didn't have the skills to beat Adele. Well, no matter, you might think. Maybe he should have just left the area and gone level up, right? That's probably a thing he should have done, right? Well, here's the problem. This was just after he'd switched to Disc 4, meaning that he was locked into the area and couldn't escape it. How brilliantly frustrating.
No matter what I tried, I'm dropping the pretense, it's killing my throat. I kept dying over and over and over, and there was bloody nothing I could do about it, seeing as the enemies scale with you, and I hadn't learned any useful skills thanks to the frustratingly obtuse junction system. Was this a case of my own idiocy? Was this a case of my own idiocy creating a checkpoint-based hell? Of course it was. But was I alone in this? No. I know countless other people that got stuck in the exact same situation, so I feel vindicated. I don't feel good about it, but I feel vindicated. So many of us got screwed over by this disc-swapping shit of a boss. And so to you, my fellow dum-dums, I raise a glass. Here's to checkpoints making a mockery of those just trying to enjoy the game. So I bet when you saw the title to this not list, I bet you thought to yourself, oh, I bet at some point that Jules is going to talk about Dark Souls, or Bloodborne, or Sekiro, Shadow Die, or any other From Software game, and he should just get good because he's going to complain about how the bonfires are too far apart. You should just get good, right, guys? You should just get good. Well, I'm not talking about it because of that. I'm not talking about the fact that they're too far apart. I'm talking about the two fucking bonfires that were too close together. You see, the thing is, I don't actually care deep down about how sometimes From Software feels about as fair as taking part in a Don't Laugh video challenge against somebody who's just had their puppy drown in a lake. Like, it's not fair. I'm not going to win, am I?
Jesus, Jules, that was needlessly dark.
I know, right, but apparently I'm the asshole because I got him kicked out of the contest. However, horrible image aside, I'm not going to be getting my assless chaps in a twist over the difficulty presented by having checkpoints as sparsely placed as hairs on my head, as today I'm going to throw my fizzy piss carving at the fact that in Dark Souls 3 we get a horrible example of two bonfires that are actually too close to one another. Now, I know it seems absolutely mad to complain about what is universally seen as a moment of peace and respite from the endless toe-punting FromSoft loves to do to our precious fat rolling holes, but the double bonfire scenario presented to the player after defeating the Dragon Slayer armor takes the utter piss. I mean, why the hell do we need two bonfires so close to one another, especially seeing as there are, and let me check my notes on this one. Carry the one. Oh yeah, no enemies between these two. The situation left me utterly stunned. How could FromSoft, who are usually so meticulous with their level designs, leave such a whopper in like this? And then it hit me. This wasn't a mistake. This was done on purpose. This was FromSoft trolling us again. They had looked across the reams of community forums of people begging for bonfires to be moved closer together to make the game easier for them, and they said, okay. Be careful what you fucking wish for. Cheers, FromSoft. Never, ever change. Right, let's get something crystal clear. Sonic 06 is Satan's greatest gift to humanity. It is, without hyperbole, one of the worst video games ever made, and possibly only the second worst Sonic game ever made, just being etched out by the atrocious catastrophe that was Sonic R. It is an absolutely miserly maelstrom of terrible programming, atrocious voice acting, enough bugs to make a fumigator sweat, and of course the kiss that would launch 1,000 yiffs as the furry/Sonic Venn diagram finally f***ing overlapped. It was, in short, an Argos catalogue where everything on offer was an unmitigated disaster, and yet, it was so utterly broken that it almost demanded attention. It was kind of like watching a clown car smash into a box of hornets. I mean, you're just standing there just going like, what is this mess? It's so enthralling to watch all of the different clowns spill out of the car just covered in hides. And you're just there like, is this funny? Is this part of the act? What is going on here? By the time that you thought about it too much, oh no, the wasps are coming for you. This prompted many around the world to give this game a go, with the challenge just being to see if they could make it through to completion without using the blunt disc to cut their own heads off. However, blocking the way for all of these masochists was a litany of crashes, texture clipping that would lead to instant deaths, and of course, enemies with hitboxes designed by Salvador Dali, all of which could require a restart in an instant. But the problem was, however, is that Sonic Team was so clearly rushed that they forgot to put in a simple feature that possibly would have alleviated some of this stress, in that they shipped the title without an autosave. Oh, excellent. I absolutely love just dying and then crossing my fingers that it won't happen again and I won't just be shot off into the nether when I reach that point, which I don't even know where it was because the game's camera barely showed you the action and what was going on half the time. You can't fix your mistakes if you can't fucking see them. I can't believe that I'm asking for an autosave feature. I'm asking for hand-holding in my video games, but here it was needed. But no, Sonic Team was off just getting their furry butt plugs fitted to bother caring about this. So, when it comes to Star Ocean: The Last Hope, I genuinely feel that there is a brilliant game here, but unfortunately, it is buried with so much fat that they've got their doctor on speed dial. For example, the combat system here is incredibly fun, and at the time it was one of the more hands-on approaches to battling that recognised the often dry nature of its peers. However, while the battles may have been fun, even they were pushed to the limit of enjoyment thanks to the game's absolutely dog-cock checkpointing system. If you can even call it that, because in many dungeons, there wasn't any. Now, to better explain, we need to take a look at the incredulous way that The Last Hope handles its narrative and pacing, whose ebbs and flows only ended up making Star Ocean look like it had pissed itself. 45-minute cutscenes after short bursts of action, or boss battles that dropped without warning or preparation, are totally commonplace here, as was having the next plot point explained to you about 3 or 4 times in succession in increasingly more simple terms, because the game thought you were a bloody moron. As I said before, it is a good game, it's just wrapped in terrible mechanics and a lack of checkpoints. And I say this because some absolute burk over at Square Enix thought that it would be a great idea to make some dungeons nearly 2 hours long and not put a single checkpoint in them. That's right, you get one at the start and one maybe just before the final boss. I'm so annoyed. I think I'm dying. I've gone beyond. I've gone into the state above being angry. I'm finding it so comical that this actually shipped in this state. Ride the wave. Oh wait, no, here comes the anger now. For fuck's sake. And there we go, my friends. Those were these video game checkpoints. Absolutely suck. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it. By the way, I've just realised as well that Jeremy might have a friend getting involved. I think I've got like a new vein that's like popping up on the side of my head now. So if you want to name him, please feel free. I mean, I'm worried. Desperately worried. Might have to go to the doctor about it, but still, might as well make a bit of a new friend. While this is going on. Anyway, if you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Now, when I do these videos, I'm put into a fake state of hyperbole. Like, I'm over the top angry, but I don't ever take that outside of this room. I try and go out there with peace in my heart and love for my fellow man, because at the end of the day, that is the only way we're going to move forward, and that is together, by building bridges instead of burning them. So I encourage you to let go of anger, to forgive those that have done wrong to you in the past, if you have the capacity to do so, and make sure you're speaking about your feelings to people like friends, family, professionals. Say that again. Professionals in the support industry, because these people actually care about you and want you to do well. All right? Now go out there and smash it, you big ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.